Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jenny, and today I thought we would work on some sun catchers. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my own sun catchers using the beads and stuff that I have. I'll show you what I have, but you don't have to use what I have. Most of the beads and stuff that I'll be using for my sun catcher, I bought at thrift stores, secondhand stores. Um, yeah, so I thought it'd be a fun way to kind of have a chit chat, have a cup of tea. Don't hurry, be happy. And that's what today's about. And some of the sun catchers I've done in the past, I'll show you a few now. This one, I'm still working on this one. This is made with memory wire. So when I'm done, I'm going to take a heavy beaded, something heavier to kind of hold it down. Um, so for example, I like to do wire wrapping stones and stuff. So I have a whole kit of caboodle ones I've worked on over time here. So for example, what I would do is something like this is I'll take one of these heavier stones. Let's see, I don't know, like this, and then I would attach it and it'll weigh it down. So kind of like this. Let me just give me a moment here. This is just a quick example, so I'm not actually using this one for this. Um, there we go. So then as you can see, you put a heavy stone or something and it'll pull it down. And this is with memory wire. Um, and again, you get that pretty little curly Q thing, which looks really pretty when it's hanging in a window or on a sun deck. So that's one option that you could do. Um, then we have just a couple very simple, um, basic shaped ones. So I just took some wire and kind of made different shapes while putting beads, wrapping beads on it. So, and again, those are just a couple options. Um, Another one that I worked on is this one. I'm not completely done with it yet. It's still a work in progress. This one's a little different because I didn't go directly on. Like I did little pieces to make it look pretty, whereas this one I kind of just wired it right onto um, the heavier wire. This wire that I'm using here, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it's like an 18 gauge. So it's easier to work with, but it keeps its shape. Um, I usually just get my wire at the hardware store, at Home Depot, anywhere they can sell wire, right? And um, and so here's a couple more simple, like very simple, easy um, little shapes and different ones I've made over time. And I thought, well, I'd like to bring you along with me on my journey to do my new one. So I plan on putting these in my garden or hanging them off my sun deck. And I thought, well, let's do something fun. So you don't have to have the materials I have, um, but use what you have on hand. Um, it's not about following what I'm doing. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing so that if you've never done it before, you can kind of get an example of what you can do. But there is no right or wrong way, right? So, get yourself some wire. I'm just using regular, I think, honestly, I don't remember the gauges, but it's like maybe a 20 gauge wire, just crafting wire, right? Any kind of crafting wire. And then um, I already made this one here, which I'll be working on today. And this is, like I said, I think this was with the 18 gauge so I could make the shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you for a moment, turn you around, and then so that you can see the working surface that I'm on. I apologize if the light's not the best. I'm in my living room. I'm hoping it'll be good, but let's have some fun. Grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee. And let's get arting. Okay, so I have you turned around here. I'm right now just sitting at on my couch because I need to have a comfy day. Um, and I have a little table that I bring up on here so I can do these kind of things. So what you need to start with is you don't have to start with something like this. You can just go freehand with the wire and create things with your beads. Or you can use something like this. I bought rings from the dollar store and that sort of thing. So if you don't want to make these, that's fine too. I might do another video showing you how I do make those. But for today, it's not about follow and do exactly what I'm doing. It's more of a I want to inspire you to do your own thing and be creative and make something pretty and shiny. I think the world needs more pretty and shiny. So what I've already done is I've already pre-cut some wire for beading wire. And it's just like a very simple dollar store wire. It's not nothing fancy by any means. A couple things I do have is I have these here, and if you know what they're called, I can't remember, but they're basically meant for um, when you're working with your wire. And my sister actually taught me this years ago. Um, you use this here, and you can smooth out your wire so it's not all crooked and bendy, right? So I put the tape on just to keep it from damaging the wire, but that's just a me thing. Really, tools are really simple. You just need a pair of wire cutters, snippers. You might want just a pair of needle nose to grab the wire if you need to, if you can't get in, and just some angled wire ones. You don't have to have all these. Really, I used to do this with just this and a snipper, right? Um, I also have some nail clippers because sometimes if I'm using like going to add fishing line to hang it, I'll use a nail clipper to cut the fishing wire. So that's really when it comes to hardware, that all you really need. Like I say, the most you really need is snips and little hanger honors. Girl talk, right? I do have some spacers here, or sorry, crimping beads. And this is if you want to have a spaces in between the beads that you're putting on for the smaller beads. Um, and then here I have, um, let me just move my things aside here for you. I'm going to move all this extra stuff because I don't need all this stuff in my way right now. All right, let's clean up our workspace because our workspace makes it easier to be creative, I find. Okay, and I'll even put that aside for now. And so this is just a beadsmith travel case where I hold some of my beads. Um, choose the colors and beads that you like, right? I've done some of these sun catchers with like the what do you call it? Sand glasses pieces and stuff like that. And I've done shells. So whatever you have on hand, right? Don't feel you have to go out and buy anything. These are just things I've already had um in my storage so that I can just kind of use what I have, and because it is a hobby I enjoy doing. So I do have a few extra colors. Today I'm going to be using some yellow little beads. And as you can see, they're not fancy. They're just like little, little beads. I have a variety in here, some pinks. I think those will be really pretty colors as well. I got some whites, and I also have some further colors. I'm going to move the table for a moment because I'm someone who likes to have a bunch of weird things. So sometimes I like to have these kinds of things, like they're little flowers like that, or you can get little butterflies, and it comes in a whole pack at the dollar store. And these are an inexpensive way to add some color and bling to your pieces. So I'll often go back to using those, and same with sequins. We all remember the sequin days. Well, I had a bunch of these kicking around from I must be at least 10 years ago. These are all really, really, really old supplies. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to pull them back out and use them. So I have some already picked out here. And then I have just some colors I'm going to be using today. And so I have these little cases here where my colors are put in. You don't have to have this, right? You can just use old pill bottles. For the longest time, I used to use old pill bottles and that sort of thing. These are ones I'm going to be using. Let's pull those ones out too. Maybe we'll get some blues in here. We don't have any blues out on the table, so let's do that. And maybe some pinks, right? There we go. Anything else in here that catches my attention right now? No, we'll leave the rest there. Maybe some greens. Put some greens out too. Alrighty. You don't have to use the colors that I'm using or the items that I'm using. Let me see if I can adjust you a little better here. I'm really new at filming and trying to get this so that you can see really well what I'm doing. For any of you out there who know how to do this filming and editing thing, I'm using my cell phone, and so I'm a little new at trying to get this done so that you can actually have a good, clear view. If you guys have any tips, that would be great. I'd appreciate it. Alrighty, so that's all we're starting with today. And just if you want to hang them at a later point, the good old Christmas hangers, right? I've had those for years. So a lot of this stuff, I did not go out and buy this stuff specifically for this project. This is just things I had kicking around. That I thought, would be fun. So, kind of move you back a little bit here. Don't mind my messy corner over here. That's where I keep things when I'm not feeling so well. When I'm having less mobile days, just so I have things close at hand. All right, so grab yourself some beads, grab yourself some rocks, some wire rocks like I showed you there. I think I'll do another video about wire wrapping rocks for this kind of thing. But for today, yeah, let's get into this. I'm gonna get myself in a little more comfier position. Gonna have my sip of tea. Remember, don't hurry, be happy. All right. So where do you begin? Well, I'd say wherever you want to. I'm going to pull out some little beads as well. I think, wherever works for you. As I said, I'm going to be using this. Now, initially, I was going to just wrap it all around this way, but I'm not sure. I mean, it will at some point. It won't be just solid beads that way. I'm not sure. What would you do? Would you do like I did with the pearls and just wrap it all around like that? Or would you like to do something more like let's see here, or something more like this one where you do individual little wiring and then this attached later on? Maybe we'll do a mix. How about that? Okay, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I do these parts here. And yeah, we're probably not going to get this all done today, and that's okay. We can come back and work on another video for sure. But yeah, let's do that, right? Then I can show you some tips that things that I find easy to do. So I'm going to put this aside for now because I'm going to work with my little beading wire. And again, whatever beading wire you have on hand, I like to use smaller beads, just kind of fill up and make designs on there. So whatever you have on hand, you don't have to spend any extra money. I think a lot of my beads were thrifted or gifted because my sister, she was a big crafter, and she went through her supplies and gave me a bunch of beads and stuff like that. So, talk to your friends and family. Maybe you'll find something that they just somebody might have beads kicking around, right? So you don't have to have this. I just bought this because my sister pointed out there was something handy worth having, and so I do have it now. It is handy, and they are rather inexpensive on Amazon. or you can get them through the Michael's dollar store. Um, but yeah, just go use what you have, right? I'm gonna see if I have. Sometimes I have a mix of little beads and stuff that. See, now I'm going off kilter because I'm thinking. Okay, we're not gonna overthink this. Okay, let's just start with something. Okay, let's get us. Let's start with some pinks, shall we? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the smaller beads on here, just so it's easier for me to see. And as you can see, we have the nice, the little long. I don't know if you can see that really well. They're really hard to see, but it's the really tiny little, kind of like little noodly. Oh, I'm trying to find you there. There you go. Is that better? But there's little long ones, and then regular seed beads, whatever you have on hand. So I'm gonna put those all in here. Maybe a few different color, different shades of pink. I feel pink is pretty, right? Let's do some pretty pinks. So let's start with some pinks, and I'll put some of those on here. Again, I'm not overthinking this. I don't have a pre-planned idea in my head. I'm just gonna wing this and see what happens. And sometimes that's the best way to do things, right? Sometimes our best creations come from just winging it. So let's start with that. I'm gonna grab this one here. And again, these are the dollar store things you can get in the party section or crafting section. They got little flowers. I don't know if you can see that really well. Little flowers. You get little butterflies. And you get a whole pack. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by taking a piece of wire. And I'm just going to angle you a little bit over here, so you can see it a little better, I hope. Alrighty. And if you don't want the beads going off the ends, there's two options. Is you can use one of these. These are crimpers, and you just put on the end, and the small beads won't go anywhere. So I think I will take a couple of those out. And because I'm going with pinks and lights, I'll probably just use like the little silver ones I have here. So yeah, I thought this might be fun just to kind of sit and chit chat and do a craft together. Now spring is coming. We're in the middle of April right now, and our gardens are just starting to wake up. I will take you out in the garden one probably pretty soon. I have started a few things. I'm a little later, but our temperature here. I'm in British Columbia, and so our temperatures here are a little cooler this time of year than normal. Not a lot, but a little, especially evening. So I'm not getting out quite as much as I used to. Okay, so I'm going to use my little needle nose pliers. I'm going to take one of these little spacers here, or not spacers, sorry, crimping beads. And all I'm going to do is, because I want to be able to make it so that I can hang a piece of wire or something else, I'm just going to bend this. There we go. And I want to get that little end into the cover over the bead. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that through here like this. It's a little hard sometimes. There we go. We got it. And the idea is we're trying to do this so that we have an end to hang, or if we want to add other elements to our wire, we can do that. Now I'm gonna have to. Sometimes this can be a little tedious. So this isn't an easy process. It's not a fast process. There we go. So I'm gonna straighten that out. I'm trying to make sure that my crimper bead goes over both. I don't know if you can see that really well. It's really hard to see, but I have the crimping bead over both wires. I might need a new camera, people. um, and then I just take this and push on the bead, and it'll hold it in place, and I'll have. There we go. So I just, as you see, I don't know if you can see that very well. Yeah, the camera's not that great for this. So as you can see, it's kind of got like that little loopy thing there. And now I can put smaller beads on here, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything, right? So let's do some pinks. Oh, I guess we'll have to do some blues and stuff in here too, right? See, this is my mind. I tend to go all over the place. I have no rhyme or reasons with what I'm doing. And that's okay, right? We're being creative and we're just going with the flow. So let's take us some blues. And I'll put those over here for now. Just so I can kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do with this. Some different color blues and white bead, little white beads. Some little pearl beads maybe. There we go. Alrighty, so just something to work with, right? Maybe some little clear ones here. Okay. So I'm gonna want to make like a little flower shape. So what I'm gonna do, excuse me, I'm gonna have to steal my blanket from my dog because my back is hurting, and she takes my whole blanket. She's a very pampered pooch, but sometimes I need it for my own support. So just give me a moment here so we get comfy. Okay, I know 20 minutes of just getting things prepared, right? That's okay. That gives you time to grab your tea and get your things together. And if you need to pause, please feel free to do that. Alrighty, so I'm going to just start by picking up some of these beads. Actually, I'm going to use some of these longer beads. Now, most of the time, they'll work on here pretty well. Once in a while, you'll find one seed bead that doesn't work. I'm going to do some of these. There we go. Let's do 3. Okay. So got 3 on there, and maybe we'll do one more, and I'll make kind of like a leaf. So yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to kind of do this and show you what I'm doing in case you would like to try to do it yourself. So I'm gonna kind of just bend this way. I don't, like I say, I don't really have a plan, and I'm just gonna take a look here. Now you can use your, if you need to, you can use those. I only use them once in a while myself, but whatever works for you. So I'm just gonna, twist and twist and twist and twist until I feel it's twisted enough. And then I have like a little leaf shape. And then I'm gonna throw on some beads here. Let's see. Let's pick up 6 beads. 1, 2, and I'm not picking a specific color. I'm just going with it. Let's do 6 beads. There we go. So I have 6 beads. Oh, 5 beads. Let's grab one more 6 bead. And here we go. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'll take these little beads and I'll turn my wire around because I'm trying to make like just kind of like a little flower. So I'll bring this around like this, maybe bring this down just a little bit more. And the thing with this beading wire, it's pretty easy to work with. It's pretty bendable. And so I'm going to move this over here. Alrighty. And what I'm trying to do is get this closed off so I can kind of make like a little flower piece here. There we go. And again, like if it's easier for you using the tools, by all means use the tools. So there you go. Yeah. So there's a little piece on there. And yeah, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep taking different beads and twisting and turning it on here. Let's try. Um, well, let's take one of these bigger beads. I'll show you how I do these. If I can find the hole, there we go. So I'll just take that one. And like I say, I'm just kind of doing this intuitively. I don't really have a plan in mind. So as you can see, I'm just going to take it and twist the wire. See? Um, and it's really just that simple. The more you do it, the better you get at it, right? But see, then we have this little start here, right? And I think that'll be really pretty when it's hanging from our main piece, whether you have a ring or whatever, right? Um, and so yeah, I'm not trying to make this like, anything perfect by any means. Um, let's see. Let's add let's add one of these little bigger beads. And then I think I'm gonna add, actually I'm gonna rewrite that. Hang on. I'm just using one of these little sequiny flower things again. I just got them at the dollar store. Nothing fancy, but they do add a little sparkle and shine. So I'm gonna put one of those on here, um, with a bead, and then I'm gonna put another one on the other end to kind of make it, I don't know, look different, right? So I don't know if you can see that, how I got those together. I have a bead in the middle. This is just the way I want to do it, right? Again, there's no right or wrong way. Alrighty. And so I'm just going to turn this over. Kind of get those in a space where they're kind of connected together. And then I'm just going to twist my wire. And again, any kind of beading wire will work. This is a situation where I might just grab my pliers and kind of help me along here because it is a smaller space. And I do want them kind of tighter together. And I love working with these beads and stuff because you can do so many things. I used to make hair pieces and stuff with them, right? For my girls. And I don't know, it's just, and I like doing wire wrapping for like stones and jewelry and stuff. There we go. So we got kind of like a little flower looking thing kind of going on there. I don't know how good focus is right now. Um, and let's see here. Let's add maybe one of these pretty pieces. I'm gonna kind of bend that over like that. So yeah, what do you like to do? As a craft, do you like painting? Do you like drawing? Have you tried making a Suncatcher before? There's lots of different tutorials online. Um, and obviously YouTubers actually go through step by step if you want to follow exactly what they're doing. Um, like I say, I tend to be a little more organic, and I like to encourage people just to do their own kind of thing, right? And that's just a me thing. Um, I like to show people things that I work on, but I don't want to be one of those people that, oh, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way, because I don't believe that's so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one. I'm going to wire wrap this on here, and I'm just going to. Now this could be a little tricky, and I technically need something here at the end to stop it from coming completely off the edge, right there. But for now, I'm just going to put this on here the way I can. This is again where your needle nose pliers will come in handy when you're trying to do this part. There we go. So yeah, I thought, this is something I wanted to do for a while, and I thought, well, maybe other people would like to see how I do this and feel encouraged to try something like it too. Bring some little light and joy in the garden or even in your house. I used to have these hanging in my window, except I have cats and they tend to like to try and reach for them and play with them. So they climb the windows now. Um, but it's not a bad thing. My cats actually love playing with these as long as they're pretty secure. They're not a danger, and if you're paying attention to your pets when they're playing, it shouldn't matter really. So there you go. So that's on there like that. Now I'm gonna tighten this. Sorry, I don't know if you can see really well, but I'm just kind of pushing these together like this. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I like how it looks when it's on here. There we go. So they're a little more closer together. And because these are going outside and they're not fancy, I just try to make sure that the ends are kind of just flat against whatever that we're putting them on. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's a little start, right? And let's try something else. Let's try some different colors. So I'm going to take another wire. And again, I didn't measure these. These are not measured or perfectly, figured out. I'm, like I say, just winging everything here. And I think this time I'm not going to use the seed bead right now to start off with. So what I'm going to do is, or I mean the, forgive me, I forget terms very easily. I'm not going to use those ones, the the little the little crimper beads. Sorry, is that a blonde moment or what? Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it together on the wire because it's a bigger bead, so I can just take it and twist it the way I want to, right? So yeah, I thought, well, you know what, I want to do this, and maybe somebody wants to sit down and do something similar while we're doing this and having some background chit chat. Um, this is something I picked up years ago, just for the fun of it, and I don't know, it's kind of grown on me. I really enjoy doing this kind of work. It kind of gets me out of my headspace. I'm not thinking too much. For some people, they like to have like the big, have the designs and all that sort of stuff, and that's okay. It's just not how I like to do things. I don't like to follow other people's um, exact patterns and stuff like that. That's not to say I don't go online and get inspiration for sure, because I have with all of these. But I also I like the idea of just kind of winging things sometimes and being organic with what I do. Um, and just seeing what happens. That's the whole part of being creative, right? Is just letting things happen. It's like when you're painting and just let it flow. Um, I think we get so bogged down by having to have every little detail, and that's why I'm not telling you what to have and what to do, because it's supposed to just be fun, right? Let's just have fun with this. I'm gonna throw in some blue beads. So as you can see here, um, the idea is just to have fun with whatever you're creating, whatever you're doing, whether it's doing this, painting, or whatever, right? Um, it's just about, I think right now we've I don't know, I've been talking about this a lot lately, is that I noticed that things in the world are just so crazy now, um, that sometimes we're going so fast and we just don't have time to slow down So let me just explain what I'm doing here. So I want to make a circle. So what I'm doing is I put the 5 beads on here. As you can see, I don't know how, again, my camera is not the best. Um, and then I'm going to take this and turn this around. And I'm going to put the end of my wire into the last bead so that I can kind of make a circle of the beads. Um, so let's see if this is going to work. Alrighty, so yeah, anyway, as I was saying, yeah, we tend to um be so busy rushing and hurrying, and I don't know, so worried about things being perfect and being precise. And there we go. So as you can see, now we got like kind of like a little flowery thingy. I don't know if you can see that really well. Sorry, I know I do have to work at some to get in some better equipment at some point, but this is what I have, so that's what I work with, right? Alrighty, so we got that. I'll put that like that. Yeah, so I think we're always in such a crazy, crazy world now where we feel like we have to do things a certain way, um, that we have to do things perfectly and precisely and exactly as someone else tells us to do it. And in one of my other videos, I'd mentioned I'm a Gen Xer, and we grew up pretty independent and flying by the seat of our pants and doing our own thing. And so to have, people tell us like, oh, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. I just find that, don't get me wrong, if you want to do it the way that person is doing, that's absolutely fine. And sometimes that's how we learn things, is by step, right? But I don't like the whole like, oh, you have to do this with this color or this with that thing, or, you know, I think it makes people feel like they have to buy things that they don't necessarily need. And that's why what I'm doing here is just a very simple, um, use what you have, right? Um, there we go. So I'm going to do another little twisty thingy, I think. There we go. Yeah, so I know I tend to babble a lot, as you'll know when you watch my videos. Um, and I talk about random stuff that doesn't always make sense with what we're doing. Um, like I say, I'm not here to, you know, tell you exactly what to do, or, how you should do it. I'm just here to encourage you to be creative and do something that is fun for you, right? I think, like I say, I think we're in a world where things are just sometimes so crazy and overwhelming. It's nice to just have a moment where we can slow down and just have some fun creating. Don't you think? And so as you can see, I'm just turning and twisting these. And if I need to do it get in there harder, I can use my needle nose pliers. But again, this is so basic and simple that I really don't feel I need to use the needle pliers very often. Let's see, what else should we throw in here? I know this is just total random colors, right? Let's do some more. Um, ooh, what do you think? What should we do? Um, well, let's put on one of these guys. They're pretty colors. Let's put these guys on here. So again, these are just the little sequins you can get at the dollar store, super inexpensive. I love arting, but I don't necessarily like paying a lot of money for arting, if you know what I mean. Um, I like to look for deals. That's kind of the fun things I do on days that I'm having better mobility. Is I'll go out and check out thrift stores or old um, uh, flea markets or that sort of thing. Because sometimes you can find some amazing, um, inexpensive crafting supplies, right? I have bins of like shells and all kinds of things that I got just from thrifting, um, inexpensively. There we go. So I'm gonna put those on there. Let's turn it this way. This is like I say, this kind of I'm just doing this organically. I don't really have a plan, as you can see. I'm a kind of fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, um, and that's okay, right? We don't always have to have a plan. Um, I need to keep a little bit of this so that I can put it on my thing. Okay, so let's throw this one on here. Um, yeah, sure, why not? Again, we're just having fun with this, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just gonna be pretty and sparkly, and I'm gonna hang mine in my garden. Sorry, hang mine on my in my garden, um, near my greenhouse. I was fortunate that my after several years of using Amazon greenhouses, because I have to have a greenhouse here. Um, but they kept blowing down and getting broken by the wind. I must have gone through, oh geez, must be, well, two of the little greenhouses I started with, and then my husband decided, well, we'll get you a bigger greenhouse, one of the bigger greenhouses from Amazon, and we went through two of those in 2 years. So they did not last very well because where I live, we can get some really high winds. Even though we had it all um, tied down properly, and like even had like bottom things to hold it in place, it still blew away and got broken. So last year or last fall, my husband started building me a greenhouse, and it's still a work in progress. I'll take you out in the garden. I'll show it to you guys at some point, as well as my garden, what I'm planning to do this year with my garden. Um, but yeah, so I think what I want to do when I'll show you where I'll be hanging these. I want to take these and kind of dangle them around the yard, because I think they're really really pretty, right? Oh, actually, let's put on some more. Let's do some more pinks. So I'm gonna do my crimping thingy. There we go. Yeah. So, what are your plans this year? Are you guys doing in gardens? With the price of things going up. I'm in BC, and things are so expensive here. It's crazy. Gas prices are up now. I'm sure it's like that for most people in most places. Um, with everything going on with Iran and or whoever, the U.S. going against everybody basically at this point. Um, I'm not getting into politics or anything like that, but I do feel the effect that it has on the world. Um, and I don't know, I feel like, not to be a paranoid, but I feel like we're in a point now where we kind of need to be prepared in the event that things go to hell in a handbasket real fast. Um, yeah, I'm kind of concerned about the direction our world's going in. So this year, I mean, I always try to plant a big garden, um, but I've had to revamp my because of my physical limitations over the few years now. I've had to revamp how I garden. So I used to, like most of us old school gardeners, and the YouTubers, a lot of YouTubers out there, they still do it that way, where they have in-ground gardens and stuff like that. And by all means, if that's what you can do, please do it. If I could, I would. Because of my limited um, abilities for movement, I had to kind of reconsider what I'm going to do in my garden and make things functional. Um, but I felt like I really need to get a garden in place this year, because, especially this year, because I feel like the price of food and everything is so expensive that I don't know if we can even afford it. Like we went, I went, what was it? A few weeks ago, I went to buy some celery. Oh, maybe it was a couple months ago now. Um, but I went to buy celery, and I had to pay $8 for a small stalk of celery. Oh. I apologize to all you out there right now because I just realized my mic went off because the battery's dying. And so I don't know how much you could hear everything I was saying in the video. Maybe let me know. Let me know in the comments. Could you hear what I was saying? Um, oh, that's my dog. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this now. I will post this video just because I'm real and raw and I don't hide boo boos and mistakes.